After the interview, the detective's main concern is the safety of the child and other family members. Now, if the child has siblings, are they safe? If so, could those siblings corroborate the allegations and strengthen the case?
Especially if it's a delayed interview, or a delayed reporting, I would say. We would get like, who did you tell first? Could be a friend, could be mom, could be a teacher, and we'd interview that person as well. We'd get the location of the incident, and depending on who owns the place, if it's the person that committed the crime, we would have to get a search warrant.
And once police investigate that child abuse case, and typically after they arrest a suspect, the city prosecutor's office gets involved.
Our team is comprised of 5 prosecutors, including myself, and all 5 of the prosecutors are specially trained to to handle and prosecute sexual assault and human trafficking cases.
The police detective calls the prosecutor, and it does not matter what time of day. There is a prosecutor on call 24 hours, ready to respond to allegations of sexual abuse.
The prosecutor who is on call then reviews the case, reviews all of the witness statements, and makes a determination as to whether or not we're able to meet our legal burden to move forward with some type of prosecution.
Before moving forward and possibly bringing the case to court, prosecutors weigh a child's emotional state.
It's really important to determine whether or not the child is able to speak about these very horrible things that happened to him or her in a way that's not going to cause too much additional trauma for the child. Can the child describe the relevant acts? Can the child testify in a room where there are going to be strangers? Because that's what would be required to charge a case. Where is the child emotionally? Sometimes after meeting with the child, we realize that we might have to wait a bit. This child might not be ready. And again, we're very sensitive to the emotional state and well-being of the child when we are reviewing a case for prosecution.
Unfortunately, many cases do not end up here in court. That's because prosecutors say child sex assault is one of the most underreported of all the offenses.
The norm is for there to be a very delayed disclosure. Sometimes children don't disclose the abuse for months or even years after the sexual assault took place. So as you can imagine, that also tends to make it a little more difficult to charge these cases, because first of all, we have to ask the child to now recall and speak in detail about these terrible things that for years the child has been trying to forget.
And children may have other reasons for not telling right away or ever, but some children do find motivation to tell.
They delay disclosure to protect their mother from heartbreak or from financial stress. They delay disclosure because they don't want their younger siblings to lose their father. There are so many reasons why they delay disclosure. And in these cases, on the flip side, there are those children who then report. And they report because they want to protect a younger sibling from what might be coming. They want to protect that younger sibling from abuse.
If there is a delay in disclosure, prosecutors are faced with little to no physical evidence, DNA, or apparent injuries.
So really, the strongest piece of evidence we have is the testimony of the child. Again, which is why, it's very challenging to move forward in these cases. And again, what's most important to us is ensuring that in moving forward, the child is in a place where he or she is not going to be more damaged speaking about these offenses.
Oftentimes, a child isn't ready, willing, or able to sit in a courtroom in front of the suspect, in front of strangers, and testify, but not always.
When we meet with them, we really make it a priority. We ask them, how do you feel about talking about this in front of other people? Do you think you could do that? We understand it's difficult. And there are those children that say, I can and I want to. I want justice. And when we hear that, obviously that's what motivates us. Okay, this child was able to overcome so much. And he or she is sitting here talking about these very embarrassing, intimate and personal things that no one wants to talk about. Even adults don't want to talk about these things. But here you have a child who is now ready and who is now wanting justice. And then, you know, we pick the ball up from there, and then we then guide the child through the rest of the process.
And during the process, there is still a team of professionals helping the child.
A lot of worries come from having to go into that foreign arena, right, of the courtroom. So during the counseling sessions, it's really providing a way where the child can feel more comfortable, providing information about what a courtroom might look like, working with victim witness, for example, and really utilizing their services to make it more comfortable for the child survivor. But if somebody, for example, if a child has been seeing one of the counselors for a long period of time and their presence in the courtroom can help to make them feel a little bit more comfortable, more safe, then we can provide that kind of accompaniment too. It may even involve working on a victim impact statement, letting the court know you know, what the impact of the abuse was for the child and for the family.
Getting a conviction at trial and getting that win is not what motivates us, but what motivates us the most is seeing a child who we can tell is being more empowered as they speak about it. A child who takes that stand and is able to testify in front of their abuser and shine the light on the face of their abuser. And we feel the empowerment that that child is experiencing in that point. And at the end of the day, if we're able to walk away with a conviction, of course, it's wonderful. It's reinforcing to the child, you know, who found the strength to come forward. You have a child who went through the process, who now leaves the system knowing that he or she was believed. And I think the child really feels a sense of accomplishment and like what they did what goes beyond themselves, because they feel that now this person might not do this to somebody else. And we found that that's something that is shared by many of our victims.
Whether a child's case goes to court or not, once they disclose, their healing journey begins.
Well, actually, their whole world changes after they leave us. And I think the greatest loss for them, if there is a loss, is going to be a sense of normalcy. What's normal?
More on the effects of abuse and the programs helping when we return.
The nonprofit Friends of the Children's Justice Center of Kauai strives to make a positive difference for Kauai's abused and neglected children through awareness, advocacy, assistance, and support of the Children's Justice Center of Kauai. To donate, go to kauaifcjc.org.
Donations are crucial so we can continue to offer and provide the help needed. We want to continue to say yes when a professional working with these children identifies a need or essential item. And donations to the Friends also support professionals by funding specialized training to work with child victims of abuse.
Here's how you can help. You can send a check to the Friends of the Children's Justice Center of Oahu. Or you can go to our website, fcjcoahu.org, and click on Donate. So how do we help these innocent children who are now victims of abuse?
And we're not just talking about physical abuse, we're talking also about emotional and psychological long-term effects from that abuse.
I think the child, they're taking the weight of the world on them. So when they finally open up and disclose, they're very vulnerable. And a lot of times they know somebody or many people might not believe them. And it's been shown by all kinds of statistics that child can go into therapy and been many, many years of therapy, it won't make as much of a difference as if a child is believed by a parent or a supportive adult. That's what helps a kid get through, is the belief and support by the parent.
So one of the best things that our viewers can do is report suspected child abuse. If you see child abuse, then you suspect it. Even if you see something and you're not sure, you should report child abuse. And the number to do that is right on our website, fcjcoahu.org. Another way our viewers can help is just by talking about child abuse. I think that it's such a taboo subject, and that adds to the secrecy and shame element of when a child is abused. No one's talking about child abuse, so they don't want to be the one who is going to bring it up and say this is happening to me, because they think it's something wrong with them, but it's not. And the more that we talk about it, the more children know that it's okay to let people know what's happening to them, that it's not their fault. If you are talking about child abuse more and you're making it an okay subject to talk about, then maybe someone in your life who is being abused will feel more comfortable to come to you and let you know that they are being abused. The biggest way people can help our organization is through donations. Our H&M program is funded mainly by private grants and donations, and we get over 1,000 requests a year for kids who are in need on Oahu. So every dollar that is donated, and every dollar counts, it doesn't have to be a big donation, but every dollar that is donated to our organization works directly towards a child's healing and helping them heal and recover from their trauma. Everyone wants to help a child who's a victim of abuse, but not everyone has the means to. So we have these organizations like the Friends of the Children's Justice Center who just have these perfect pathways set up to streamline necessary services to these kids.
For more information and how you can help out the Friends, you can go to the website, fcjcoahu.org. Now, also on that website, the phone number to call if you suspect child abuse.
On behalf of the Friends of the Children's Justice Center of Oahu, Jai and myself, our deepest thanks go out to the agencies and professionals dedicated to serving Hawaii's child victims of abuse.
After 31 years, I still believe in the mission. I still hope that my long years of work is making one little difference in the impact to keep some kid safe that I may not even know. And then every now and then, this is great, but every now and then a child that I work with as an adult gives me a call and says, I remember you. It's
just caring for kids and their future, and because I have my own kids too, so somebody's got to protect them. Somebody's got to have the voice for them, and somebody's got to give them the justice they need and a chance to, to move on with their lives.
That kids being able to say, thank you, Auntie. Thank you for that quilt. Thank you for giving me a backpack. Thank you for making sure that when I go home, I'm safe again. And having a child say that, even if it's, when I think you hear those words, maybe you truly realize that we collectively, the center, all the agencies, the friends, that we are really helping these children in such a significant, critical way, whether it's safety, that they're going to go home to a safe place, even if it means foster care, at least tonight, if they get removed, they're not going to go back to a home that maybe they're experiencing abuse, and that they have this opportunity to really lead a productive life as they become adults and adolescents.
While we can't undo those things that have happened, we can change the way a kid feels about those things and about themselves. And that possibility that we can make a difference that way is something that probably keeps me going
It makes you so happy when you get these handwritten thank you notes from kids who are just so excited to have a bed to sleep in. Just for them to say that I feel safe now, I have covers to go under. I mean, it's the things that you take for granted growing up as a kid, a bed to sleep in. It's not something I ever thought twice about. And just to think that these kids don't have a place where they can even feel safe, and then we're able to provide that is so important to me.
We get to be a part of recovery. Sometimes people think that our job is hard or sad or kind of dark because we deal with sex abuse every day. And over the years, I've had different positions here, right? But it's actually the opposite. It actually is part of the light, because here we get to see them, a child come from feeling so afraid of having told to really just being so proud of how strong they were, and to experience that relief that comes from breaking that secrecy. We get to see them really shift the blame from themselves onto where it really belongs, which is on the person who did the harm, right? We get to see them just really celebrate their strength, their resilience, and the fact that no more secrets, and most importantly, I think we get to help cement that the goodness and the value and the dignity that's all there within them. And so our goal and our joy is seeing them walk out the door, whether the child along with the family, knowing that there's a good future ahead, and knowing that there's life after sex abuse. That's why I do it.
Prosecuting sexual assault cases is not something that's easy and not something that many want to do. Personally for me, my why is knowing that I'm in a position where I can go to work every day and I can make our community a safer place for our keiki. My why is knowing that if a child can come forward and talk about all of these horrible things and all of the abuse that this child suffered, if that child can talk about that, I'm in a position where I can do something to help that child. For me, my inspiration is, I guess I'm inspired by these children and their resiliency and their strength. And yeah, that's my why.